I don't know. It was weird. It was a different
I
time.
think it was weird too. Yeah.
No, that was so much fun. You wouldn't even thought that
I don't even know yet, so.
I don't know. I just have you had it?
I need some more. No, I need some more.
Looks like we found the bottom of the bottle. Baby, are you lit? I can tell by the way you wobble. I guess we really ran the tab today, and I ain't going home, but my ride is over that away. She said, where you going if you ain't back to mine? I said I would go, but I just couldn't think to leave it behind. She told me I ain't going nowhere. I said we gotta go eventually. She said let's go there. Then she pointed to the vehicle. She looked at me and smiled, and then began to tell me how she hasn't been this happy in a while. And if it wasn't right, she whispered, hope you don't mind sleeping in the car tonight. And I'm like, baby, you a bad woman. She said, no, baby, but I'm that woman. A dark night, baby.
We can't give y'all everything, you know. You gotta buy the track or click on his links. You'll get the song and the album. But yeah, that's one of the songs I like so much right now. The algorithm brought us together. I have man, he Mr. Everything pretty much. I have mental health advocate, musical artist, award-winning filmmaker. He'll tell you some other stuff, of course. He got his health thing going on. Also, I have Moonman Flow. I have Mr. Derrick Florence II. What is going on, Derrick?
Not much. Chilling, living life, doing my best every day.
So tell us about yourself here just for a moment. I'm going to let you have the floor.
Hey, I appreciate it. Well, again, my name is Derrick Florence II. I go by the name of Moonman Flow. I used to go by FK Moonman as far as a separate brand was concerned, but I was like, let me just tie it all together because I hate having multiple brands and I just want to be myself. I just I'm a music artist. I'm a filmmaker. I just graduated with my master's in documentary. Formerly a computer scientist. I have my undergraduate degree in computer science. I am a football coach. I played football for 15 years. I got to play overseas a little bit for college. Man, I could go way down the list, but ultimately, I like to identify as a neurodivergent artist. I am a mental health advocate, as you say, and it's because I learned a lot about myself through my ADHD, and it's given me a very strong understanding of the world and the people around me, to where it's like everything seems to come together all the time for me and the people who I try to associate with. So it's been a long journey, 10 or so years as far as me really coming into being. Definitely longer with some other things, but yeah, that's me, the handyman that can. So.
Oh yeah, facts. Wow, man, that's a mouthful.
Yeah.
So how can I say this? You say you played football for 15 years. Where did you play that overseas? Like football, like the pigskin, right?
Yes, sir. I played for Leeds Beckett University in Leeds, England. It's in the northern part. It's about 3 hours north of London by train. I got recruited, I want to say a couple months before I graduated from the College of Worcester. And there was this email in my junk folder, but it was like forwarded from my head coach. And I was like, what is this doing here? And it was like, play the sport that you played in college overseas with us and get a master's degree in a year and a half. And I was like, well, I can't turn that down. So lo and behold, I get into the school maybe like a couple weeks later, and then it was like, all right, I guess I'm going overseas later this year. So yeah, I got to play football with my guys, Carnegie American Football. Shout out to the team. They having a nice little year. So hopefully they get to make it to the playoffs this year, or hope to make it to the championship, because they're gonna make it to the playoffs.
Oh man, sound like they'd be dominating. I like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when I looked on your social media page, I was looking like, what the heck is a Worcester? I thought it was like some made up stuff until I looked it up. I'm like, oh, it's actual school.
Yeah, it's a very small school in Ohio. It's about an hour from Cleveland, and it's nothing there but the school, honestly. But you learn a lot about yourself at that school in particular, especially if you go about it the way that I did. So like I have a lot of love for Worcester, and I have a lot of I got a lot of stories about Worcester, but I definitely have a lot of love for that place. So it was a time for me, to say the least.
Oh, we're gonna talk about it. Don't worry about that. We got time. My goodness. All right. So let's kind of talk about the mental health part of it. On this particular show, we touch on mental health quite a bit. It applies to all facets of life, of course, anything from cars, women, whatever whatever we do in life, it applies to everything. So what made you become a health advocate?
Man, what started was I really wanted to understand myself, especially when it came to things like my music. I felt that I was singing a lot of the same songs. I was talking about a lot of the same things. I may structure it differently. I may put it in a different genre, but at the end of the day, like, why is it that my mind kind of wants to talk about these certain things? And that's when you just kind of realize that the way your brain operates now is a collective of all your past experiences. And I struggled a lot with separating the art from the artist as far as it pertains to myself. So I wasn't understanding that the music that I was making was to put it in perspective, me making the music was me finding the answer to my problems. The problem that I then would have was trying to retroactively go back and fix those problems with the newfound solutions. However, those should be the solutions in the first place. So I can't go back and fix what already happened. I have to learn from it, grow from it, and not make the same mistake again. So I kept trying to go back with it. I had a big kind of sense of survivor's guilt just because, like, I make a lot of friends really fast. I do a lot of things with a lot of people, and then I'm kind of on to the next thing. Like, I've been from Florida to Ohio to England to back to Florida, now up to the DMV. And it's like I'm never in one place for too long, and I formed such strong bonds with people that I felt like I left a lot of people behind. But once I realized that, I was still just as close with everybody as I've always been, like, that's when that guilt kind of went away, and I was able to actually really freely and truly be myself and fully realize my potential, because I was no longer seeking solutions, because I was actively creating them.
Oh man, I like that, man. I knew you had some words in there somewhere, man. That's what. Yeah, this is real with you.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, sometimes I have that problem myself. I be trying to, figure out certain things, and I get into my little creative section. Then I find an answer. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Like you said before, I had to backtrack. That's what I be doing, backtracking.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how it works.
I mean, even sometimes, I'm pretty much I'm ahead of my time on a lot of things, and I just don't, like you say, you had to backtrack. I catch it, then I'm like, hold on, let me slow down for a second. My mind kind of wanders sometimes. It just kind of go like way over there, man. I mean, I'll be right a lot of times too, but it just seems kind of weird.
Yeah, that's what it is, and it feels weird because once you realize you're ahead in a certain aspect, it's like no one understands you. So you can't get that outside confirmation. And so you have to like play ignorant with a lot of people and like slowly feed them like your point of view. And then they'll be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And now you're like, all right, cool, I can go full into it. Someone gets me, and that's all I needed. Like it makes sense to somebody. So like I feel good now. And it's very difficult being in a space where you understand that you probably know a little bit more than quite a few people around you in certain aspects, and it's all about learning how to communicate and fix miscommunications.
Even with that, sometimes some people kind of help on like, hey, he playing kind of. I'm like, hold on, he know a little bit more than you really know sometimes.
Yeah.
You have some people try to sabotage you or try not to let you kind of do your thing. You had to kind of venture off on your own sometimes.
Most definitely.
Man, but pretty much, I ain't been 100% right, but all the things I've been thinking about, things I've done, I've been accurate.
Yeah, that's usually what it is.
I mean, the timing may not have been right, but I was still right.
Yeah,
it would have happened.
Follow those instincts every time.
I mean, I moved around quite a bit myself when I was younger, but I actually went past the Mississippi River when I moved to Atlanta 3 years ago, past the borderline of Louisiana and Vicksburg, pretty much. I ain't never went past that. Once I went past that, I'm like, you know what? I guess it's gonna be a new journey. And now I'm in Atlanta.
Yeah, completely different.
Have you been out here yet?
Yeah, I had siblings that live out there. Been up through there a couple times. I was actually born in Savannah, Georgia, so it's like right around the corner.
Country boy.
Yeah, I visit through there a couple times. I got a lot of friends. Like I said, I got family too. But yeah, it's definitely a great place. I don't think it's my speed in particular, but it's definitely a place that I'll roll through, have some fun, and then be back on to where I'm at.
So being in the DMV is a little bit slower than Atlanta. Is a little bit quicker.
I think it's a little bit quicker simply because things aren't so spread out. It's like we're literally in the tri-state area and everything is like kind of 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and within that. So it's like you could literally be in Alexandria at one moment, then you be in DC, and then I don't know, you go to PG County or something like that, and it's all so close. But you get such a diverse range of people because the people in PG aren't the same as the people as DC, aren't the same as people in Alexandria. So it's like you don't have to go too far to experience a completely different section of folks.
So on that side of the country, I guess you can get to a bunch of other states like real quicker, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm. The states are a lot smaller. The city structures are a lot more condensed, and so like you think of New York. New York is a pretty big state. When you think of New York City, it's very vertical, and that's where a lot of people live. So it's like you don't have to go too far to get where you need to go, but it's because the verticality of the city is so like crazy that there's a lot of people that can fit there and live comfortably, I suppose.
Man, it looked too tight for me, man. Whew, wait, I like to drive, man.
It can be, man.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be coming to a Virginia next month. I'm supposed to be doing my podcast at a show right now. I'm not gonna let too much out of the bag right now, but I'm supposed to be doing my show at an event, and so look out for that. Of course, I'm going to be blogging up there. Yeah, it's going to be the first time I passed the Carolina since I've been on this side of the country.
Man.
I got to take my tint off my windshield. They're not going to go with that.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, it's the whole windshield is tinted, man. Just it's dark, man. Because of my vision situation, but yeah, I got to take it off temporarily.
Okay, that's understandable.
You said so the DMV. What states make up the DMV?
So it's an acronym for DC, Maryland, Virginia.
What's closer to Virginia? Is it DC or is it Maryland?
So the way people talk about the DMV kind of is its own area. People don't really consider all of like Maryland the DMV, and people don't consider all of Virginia the DMV. DC is definitely the DMV, but like Baltimore wouldn't be considered the DMV, and like I don't know if you go far south enough in Virginia or far west enough, like that's not considered the DMV. So it's literally like this tight little circle of like of just enough of Virginia that's close to DC, like the harbor, then DC itself, and then like I say, like maybe PG County and like I don't know, the western side of Montgomery County. It's really like it's all kind of just that circle, that little circle that connects the three, and then if you go too far out, you're no longer in the DMV, even though you may technically still be in Maryland or Virginia.
I did not know. That's a fun fact for everybody.
Yeah.
I was thinking DMV, of course, DC, Virginia, and Maryland was, the whole thing. Mm-hmm. But apparently it's not.
Nah, it's just that tight little cluster of folk that tend to know everybody. So,
people be claiming the DMV and they'll be like way over somewhere else. Then I kind of figured that out now. I'm glad you told me that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just like folks in Atlanta, they say, "Hey, I'm from Atlanta." I'm like, "You in Duluth?
You in Duluth?
You're not in the city of Atlanta. You in the North Metroplex." But that's 30 minutes away almost.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like if you from a suburb of Atlanta or something like that, and you go away from Atlanta, nobody gonna know what you talk about if you talk about your city. So you just be like, I'm from Atlanta, bro. Like if
you're not in Fulton County, you're not in Atlanta, man.
True.
I mean, Atlanta pretty much is already breaking apart anyway. If you're not in Fulton County, you can't be claiming no, you're not in Atlanta. I hate to be like that. It is what it is, man.
I definitely feel you. Like it's, at some point you branch off into just a completely different place. So it's understandable to be like, nah, like this is Atlanta, especially if Atlanta itself is literally just a city, and then you in like Stone Mountain. It's like, nah, you in Stone Mountain. You ain't in Atlanta. You in Stone Mountain. You over there.
I mean, you can get to you can get to it, but it just takes forever.
Yeah.
Now, the ones that be killing me, man, I'm from Atlanta. I'm like, where you at? I'm in Jonesboro. Somebody got me before I went to Texas. I'm like, okay, it must be close. They showed me on map. I'm like, it ain't that far. And I actually kind of figure it out. I'm like, nah, man, I can't let you have that one.
Ain't no way, man. That's crazy. But then you got places like where I'll say I'm from, Jacksonville, Florida, where it's like Jacksonville's so big, man. You could drive for 45 minutes or an hour and you're still in Jacksonville.
Really?
And you still in Jacksonville.
Damn.
So it's like it's so big that it's just so big, bro. I got tired of it I didn't get tired of it, but it's like, why I gotta drive 30 minutes to my friend's house? But why does 30 minutes feel up the street for me? But yeah,
so when you say 30 minutes, is it like the map, or is it because of the traffic? I mean the wideness, I guess.
It's literally just Jacksonville as a landmass is big. Like there's a graphic, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but it's like Jacksonville, and it's like major cities that can fit inside of Jacksonville, and it was like 8 different cities that like could fit. I think it was 8. 8 cities could fit inside of all of Jacksonville, like major cities.
Man, they be acting like Jacksonville's so small. I'm like, somebody telling the truth about the thing. I'm like, man, they act like Jacksonville's like a little country town or something.
Like when you get out to like, I wouldn't call it country. The people definitely country. But like you don't get country unless you go out into like a Clay County or a Nassau County, to where you actually in the country, to where like Clay County, Clay High School, there's like I remember my first away game at Clay High School, and we pull into the school, and like we're literally there's like cows in a stable next to the field, and we're like, yo, are we here? Is this what?
Oh, that sound like Texas, man.
You feel me? So it do get a little country if you go outside the bounds to the different counties and stuff. But I mean, it's just the people in Jacksonville that's country, honestly.
Yeah, also supposed to be going down through their way later on this show. I'm kind of making my little tour, my fake little tour. I'm going to be doing my podcast and certain spaces that some of my guests been on my show. I'm going to be pulling up on them pretty much.
Let's go. I love it.
Yeah, Jacksonville is one of them cities that's interests me. Of course, I'm going to hit Orlando. Then I'm going to go all the way down to Miami. It's going to take forever to get down there.
What? That's another thing, too. That state's so long, man. It's like, why I got to drive 5 hours to get to the bottom? We're in the same state, bro. It's like, I drop like, oh, man. I'll say being in England put into perspective how big the U.S. is, because it's like, People take the train from London to Leeds every day to go to work, to go to school and stuff like that. Like they okay with busting that 3-hour ride every day.
Whew.
Yeah, and that's just what they do. They find peace in that trek. But like, if you driving 3 hours here, you just somewhere else, somewhere completely different. But it really opened my eyes, and that's by car. They do it by train up there, so like you covering some distance, but yeah.
Did you get a chance to drive while you was in England back then?
I did not, but my dad did.
What?
When he first got there, and he accidentally knocked somebody's mirror off their car, because you got to drive on the right side, and the streets are so. I will say the traffic. The traffic system in the UK is kind of whack. I see why everybody either like takes the bus, take a train, or walk everywhere, just because driving ain't it. Like there are roads that are so small, you got to like literally drive off the road to let somebody come through so you can get back on and keep going. that bad.
I gotta get somebody on the show that's been over there. I need to hear about that. I be wondering when they driving from my country, the country, how weird is that or whatever. I'm trying to. Somebody gonna tell me their story one day.
It's actually pretty. It's pretty beautiful. I ain't gonna hold you. Like, I remember we drove from Leeds to Sheffield. I think it took like an hour or so, and we really got to see the countryside. Like, you got to see the part of England that looks like Game of Thrones in the summertime. And I was
Really?
like, oh yeah, like the views was like serious. I'm like, I've only seen this in books and TV and stuff, and the fact that we were actually like, you know, on those roads and seeing those hills and seeing those old buildings and stuff like that, like that's just views that I would want everybody to see and realize is like it's out there, like people are alive across the water. So
Okay, I like that, man. We're gonna figure that out. Let's kind of, you know what? Before we go to the next part, if you ever drive to Texas, you will be literally driving all day long going through Texas. It's so big, man.
oh man, I should be in there this summer for a convention, DreamCon. So we gonna see what Texas talking about.
Oh, it's down there.
Yeah, I was actually right now. Actually, I was supposed to be in Texas for a tour, but you know, COVID and stuff, so we pushed it back to another time. But yeah.
Oh, you doing your own tour, or you on tour with somebody else?
I'm on tour with I was supposed to be on tour with Landon Wordswell. He actually still is doing the tour, but I was like, you know, I'm a roll it out. I'm a roll it out till later in the year. Y'all go ahead and do y'all thing, and I'll, you know, catch y'all on another stretch of another stretch. So just taking it easy for right now and really gathering myself for literally the storm that's about to come up with everything that I got going on.
Oh yeah, it's going down, man. I can see it.
Absolutely.
I mean, I be seeing what you're doing. I'm like, yeah, he gonna do whatever he gonna do. He gonna pop somehow.
Yeah, got to.
It's gonna be one or two or three of them things you got going on. It's going down.
Quicker than a lot of people expect, and it's all about, you know, manufacturing the moment. I took an entrepreneurship class at Worcester, and it was probably the best class that I took there, just for my understanding of the world in real life, and trying to see opportunity in literally every little detail, every little thing. It's like you don't have to think extremely big to do something big. Maybe it's this little thing in front of you, that small annoyance, that small problem in the world or whatever that you could fix, and it'll do more justice trying to do the little thing than trying to do the big thing. So you know, through taking that course and understanding, like, you know, maybe I can just straight DM somebody who's inspired me before. I've been doing this thing where, like, art that I've done, I reach out to the people who inspired it. The film that I'm most known for right now, called Changes, it's about you know, mental health and loss during the pandemic and rediscovering yourself through art. It uses a song, "Float On" by Modest Mouse. The character in the film kind of is trying to learn music. He's having a tough go, and then he finds "Float On" by Modest Mouse. He's like, he really likes this song, and then he starts to try to play it on the piano, and now he's able to push forward through his mental block. And I reached out to Modest Mouse, and I was like, hey, I have a film. It's winning awards. I have like 300 to 400 emails of film festivals trying to get it in their festival. I'd really appreciate, first of all, I really appreciate the song. I love the song. And, you know, if you wanted to check the film out, here it is. And, like, yeah, like, this doesn't happen if, you know, you don't have the idea how many ever so years ago to make the song float on. So, like, you know, I appreciate you. And I've done that with my guitar inspiration. I've done that with video game developers, and just that reassurance of, like, you know, something that someone did in the past inspired someone to do something, you know, great in the future. I think that helps them out as artists, developers, and you know, whatever they do as well, to know that, you know, people were affected back then, and it still has an effect to this day. So it's always important to, let your inspirations know that, whatever they did, it's still, ringing true after all, those years.
So they pretty much are getting their flowers then. That's what you're doing then, right?
Absolutely. And I've made so many connections just off the strength of that. One of my good friends now, Monty Ball, former running back for the Denver Broncos and for the University of Wisconsin, like, I met him through mental health podcasts, and just someone just connected me to him, and I was like, oh. And now I'm really cool with Monty Ball. It's kind of crazy. So it's like he inspired a little bit of my running style when I was in high school, and I was able to call him on the phone and be like, yo, like, I really looked up to you when I was like 16, 17, 18. And, I actually stuck with it, and now here I am, and now here we are talking about it. And like that's very surreal to me. And that's been happening kind of left and right. So chase it, reach out to those people. Sometimes you never know what's going to happen.
Oh yeah. Speaking of football, you was telling me that you're a football coach. That's correct, right?
Yes.
Are you a head coach or are you a position coach?
I am a position coach. I coach DBs. I coach at my high school back in Florida. Shout out to Paxton. I started off as a position coach and JV defensive coordinator. And then I went back to play at Worcester. Like, I took a year off to help out with some family stuff at home. Went back up, and then just every break that I had, if I'm in there in the spring, I'm coaching during spring. If I'm there in the summer, I'm coaching during summer. And if I'm long enough in the fall, I coach in fall. And if I'm in Florida for the fall, I just coach the entire season. And I've done that for about 5 or 6 years now. I was kind of the interim head coach last spring, just because all the other coaches were coaching other sports. So I really got to, see what it was like to build a team and learn how to find my own kind of coaching style and get everybody on board to, go into the summer or go into the spring game prepared and go into the summer motivated. So the fact that, a lot of people at my high school was like, yo, like, we kind of need you back as a coach, or just that they've never seen someone kind of take the route with coaching that I did, like, made me feel really good about it. So it's definitely something that I want to continue from my high school, even though I'm up here. So I have a very active role in my high school.
Okay, I can see you doing that one of these days, man.
I'm thinking about it.
You never know where your coaching would take you, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have all these life experiences doing other things. You can pretty much relate to the youth. I mean, you're still young enough. You can relate to the youth still.
Absolutely. Like, those, like, I'll call them kids whenever I spur of the moment, but it's more like an older brother type of deal with them. And it's because I don't feel like it was too long ago from when I graduated. Like, yeah, it's been, 8 years now, but I still, I walk through those halls and I still get the feeling that, I gotta go to class. So, and, some of the same teachers are there and administration in general, the same buildings. And it's just like, man, like, a lot changes, but a lot stays the same. So I still feel that connection. And, I treat them just like I would treat one of my friends, and they respect me for that. So I appreciate them.
Oh man, that's all right, man. I be seeing you doing your footwork online. I mean, I know them kids' footwork can improve.
I gotta let them know, man. I got the keys. I'm not using them. They could take them, So definitely I'm trying to just reach more kids at this point. Like, if I gotta do the TikTok thing, all right, I'm gonna do the TikTok thing. But I know it's kids on TikTok who are really trying to, develop their game, get better, and try to make a great high school experience, if not get into college and get into the league. So anything that I got that I can help with, yeah, while I'm working out, I'll record a little something, come back to the crib, edit it up, put it out, and be like, yo, go be great.
So also what I noticed online, you had something on there where football pretty much taught you how to keep yourself in shape. Is that accurate?
Yeah. So one thing about football is that it is very tough on the body, and not just in a we run into each other at 20 miles per hour kind of sense. You have to know how to take care of yourself as far as like stretching, recovery, bodybuilding and stuff like that. And if you really pay attention to, you know, your trainers, if you have physical therapy, if you pay attention during that, if you just listen to coaches when they tell you how to hydrate, what to eat before, and stuff like that, you really start to figure out, you know, how to take care of yourself all the time. And like if you wanna look a certain way, you know, you can pick up the tools to be able to do that. Like the exact post you're talking about, like I was a lot slimmer, probably the slimmest I've been in a decade. I was at like 175. Right now I'm about 190, but that was like, it was just a month ago. And all I had to do was, you know, take some time off, eat a little bit, and then when I'm ready to go, get back into heavy lifting. Don't immediately heavy lift, but get my body primed again to heavy lift. Start heavy lifting, get back into my football drills, and then boom, 10, 15 pounds, just like that.
Man, I haven't been 190. Man, it's been like maybe a couple years almost, but yeah, I'm back working on it right now. But you know, my weight kind of go up and down. But I mean, I always had the foundation. Whenever I start doing stuff, I'm like, okay, muscle memory, pretty much.
Yeah, for sure, and that's what it is for me. Like I will tell you right now, I have. People tell me I look anywhere from 21 to 25, but I feel 72. I will tell you that right now. From back problems, hip problems, lower body problems. I spend more time on that foam roller than I do the computer. So it's just making sure I'm taking care of myself, because your body not gonna last forever. So anything that you can do to keep it up, you know, from the crib, you should look into and get into.
Yeah, kind of one of them things. I mean, I'm a little bit older than you, but I mean, I got aches and pains myself, but man, whenever it get kind of cold or cold outside, your bones just start locking up, man. You got to put some WD-40 or something on, some grease, man. You got to warm them joints. You got to warm those joints up, man.
Yeah, man, I hear you. It'd be a struggle in the morning sometimes just to prep to go out and do a little mile or two, but it kept me going throughout the day, so I get up and I do it. So yeah.
All right, let's kind of go back to mental health for a second. Tell us a little bit more about what mental health can do for people.
Man, mental health is literally the answer to everything. It's the answer to everything. I tell people a lot, and I say it in my music a lot, you know, happiness is the key, but happiness is elusive. And you should always try to do what makes you happy, but you should also try to do what makes you happy and doesn't infringe on other people's happiness. There's a level of respect that you have to have with your ambitions, that you can't always have what you want, and you have to be okay with that. But you can understand that you can go for whatever it is that you want, and you can find the people who are in the same boat as you trying to go that way, and that's now your circle. And now your happiness is their happiness, is everyone's happiness. One thing that I used to do growing up, and I get it from my mother, and I love my mom to death, and just like seeing how she's able to kind of take care of everybody else is like, I want to do that for people. I want to look out for people, be helpful, because, you know, there's not a lot of that. And if there is, it goes unnoticed, and that's okay. We should just do things for the sake of doing positive things. But that's who I wanted to be. That's who I wanted to be. So I help any way that I can. But when I was a lot younger, I didn't know what it meant to help myself while helping people. So I was sacrificing myself in order to help a lot of people. And that was kind of the beginning of, you know, bad. Well, I won't say bad, but that's where, you know, depression kind of sinks in. Anxiety and you know, traumas and things of that nature, is because you feel like you're doing what's best. You feel like you're doing what's right, and then things go wrong or unexpected, and now you're questioning your judgment, you're questioning your character, people are questioning your character, and you don't know how to deal with that, because the whole time you thought you were doing the right thing. So through kind of taking a break from, I want to say I took 3 years, 3 or 4 years to really like go and discover what it is I wanted to be and who I wanted to be, after my first year of college. And it was through finding my best friend Ronnie, that I was able to really truly understand like who it is I wanted to be, and who I could be for other people at the same time. So it's like I always tell her and tell everyone how much of an influence she was on me in my journey of discovering my best self. And to this day we're still black and white. So
Oh yeah, that'll work right there. Okay, let's go back to music real quick.
yeah.
So tell us about your latest album that you have, your EP you have going on right now.
Boy. Oh man. Oh woo.
It's a little different.
Oh woo Reku. All right. So the name is actually Ghanaian. It's the Ghanaian male name for Born on a Wednesday. I actually posted today about why I called it that, and a good friend of mine from Worcester, Chantel, she's from Ghana, just kind of randomly asked me, is like, what day were you born? And I told her, yeah, November 29th. And she was like, no, what day? And I'm like, oh, Wednesday. And she just kind of wrote on the whiteboard, oh Reku. And I was like, oh, that's cool. What's that? And she's like, yeah, that would be your name in like Ghana. I was like, oh. And so I took a picture of it, and I've always had it in my phone. And so like last year, I was in a state of disarray, but like organized disarray. Like I knew where things were headed. I just was very confused about how I was getting there. I just knew that I wanted to transition into my best self. And one of the big themes across a lot of my albums is finding home, or discovering home, or explaining what home is, and trying to really put a label on what does home mean to me. And there was this culture show at Worcester called Sankofa, and there's a story about the Sankofa bird and returning home to Africa and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, let me try to transition into Owu Reku, because it's still me, but it's returning to home. It's returning to myself and who I really and truly want to be for myself, not just for other people. And it's the first time I've taken a year to make an album. I could make an album in 2 days if I wanted to, and to the same length. It's an hour long, so it's an hour long. Everything means something. There's so much detail. I would need literally a dissertation to talk about every single decision that I made in it. But I met someone at the end of 2020 who really reminded me that I was a human, because for the longest time people had a lot of expectations for me because I did a lot of things, and I did a lot of positive things in the world. And at some point you get told that enough to where you feel like you can do no wrong. And this particular person, she came from pretty much the opposite side of what I came from. She didn't go out too much. She has artistic things about her, but she didn't have the time to really express it and go into it. And just completely the opposite of me, but like the similarities were so strong, it was like wild. And so it's like I got to learn about myself through someone who just experienced the exact opposite from me. So I had a lot of ups and downs, push and pulls with her, and it was through interacting with her that I began to understand my relationship dynamics with other people like my sister, people like my father, people like the guys I do music with, 90s TV. I really started to really cement my understanding of these relationships that I have with everybody and what they mean to me and how I want to maintain them. And so the entire album is basically like, it's empathy in an album. So you can go into it as me, the vulnerable narcissist, and you can get the lessons that you need as a vulnerable narcissist to come out as a more balanced person. Or you can go in as the victim of vulnerable narcissism, and see the warning signs of a vulnerable narcissist, and be able to communicate effectively your boundaries, and just having someone really and truly respect both you and themselves, and not sacrifice themselves for no particular reason, but also not encroach on your boundaries that you set within the relationship. So That was the jumping point for it, and I finally got to the point where I fully understood, and she liked it, and she was like, yeah, like that's our story, and I was like, I did it. I figured it out. So I mean, there's a lot of turns to it. There's a lot of different stuff. I really feel like it doesn't get any better than that. Anything that I make can only equal what I made with Oreku, and so I really feel like I'm at a point where I could stop music now, sure, but as a music artist, I've reached my peak as far as the story that I wanted to tell with my mental health journey and things like that.
Yeah, if you put it that way, man, that I was listening to some of your work here recently. I'm like, man, this is saying some stuff. I'm like, what the heck this coming from?
Yeah, man.
I mean, it was real. I mean, I like my gangster rap and everything else, like everybody else. I like my ignorant stuff too. You know, I mean,
For sure.
people getting shot. Drugs selling all over the place. All kind of stuff.
It's real.
But with your music, man, it's kind of like the throwback, like the what I'm trying to say, like the early to mid 2000s.
Yeah.
Maybe even the late 90s to a certain extent.
Yeah, I get
the underground rap, pretty much.
Yeah, and that's what I go for. I go for a lot of nostalgia in my music because, like, it goes back to what we talked about before, going back. If you just, sometimes we look ahead so much that we forget that the future is ever changing, and every decision that everyone in the world makes changes the future. So how can we predict it if we don't know everyone in the world? So sometimes to find understanding, we got to look back at, we got to look back at the past, and like, we don't have to go too far. We could look at yesterday and have a better today. So I really take a lot of inspiration from, the 90s aesthetic, early 2000s aesthetic, because it was the internet. It was the boom of the internet. People really were starting to discover themselves in ways that, we hadn't before. And technology became this thing to where anybody could do anything. I don't have to know how to play an instrument to make a beat. So just really digging back into those sounds now that we have the capacity to be a one-man band and really explore what we can do with sound. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Well, I mean, yeah, I might start listening to a little bit more of your music, man. I'm kind of binge just listening right now, but it gives me that feeling, man. It makes me feel good a little bit.
I appreciate it.
I'm not saying it because you're on air, but I just discovered it. I'm like, dang.
Yeah, man, it's a lot out. I believe I have over 180 songs on like the primary digital distribution, but I've made well over 500 to 600 songs in my life.
Hey, you working, bro?
Yeah, I got to get my thoughts out somehow.
So, do you produce some of your music yourself, or do you have like a primary producer that you use for your sound?
I now produce all, if not most, of my stuff. Oreku, I want to say, is 80 to 85% produced by me. And before I would, go on YouTube, I'd search up, beats just like anyone else would do. But like at some point, I just would hear the sounds that I wanted in my head, and I got so familiar with the software that I was able to just make the sounds that were in my head. And once I got to that point, I was like, okay, let me stop going on the internet for these beats or going to other people for these beats, because that's no longer the story that I want to tell. And also I want to start owning my music right off the jump. I don't want to have to pay someone to sound like something, or I don't want to incorporate someone else's ideas if sonically it's not portraying what I want to do. I don't want to always have to be at the mercy of the instrumental, because beats run the music industry right now. You could be the worst rapper in the world, but if the beat is hard, you will get 1 million streams.
Man.
I do not want to be an artist. That's all. But that's what I'm trying to say. It's like a lot of people are at the mercy of their producers. So if I'm my producer, I solve that problem.
I was about to ask you that question about how you go about doing your music for like beat wise. You say pretty much you're trying to say you used to use other beats, but the beats that you're doing right now is kind of way that you kind of thinking. If I'm trying to, right. I think what I'm trying to say, like the mood that you're in or whatnot, that you're looking for the particular sound.
Yeah, I'm very much so a minimalist when it comes to my production. I could use 3 instruments and call it a beat and be fine with that. Some people have 120 layers and all the chaining and stuff like that, and I'm like, that's fine. You do that. I'm very simple. I don't need much to feel intricate. I just need the song to convey exactly how I'm feeling, and no matter what I say on it, well, I'm going to say something poetic on it, but no matter what I say on it, you'll always get the feeling. You don't have to understand the words to understand the vibe.
Man, yeah, you most definitely right about that. One of my favorite albums that I'm listening to right now, the song "Water," pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got some. You doing your thing on there, man. I got to give it to you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
With the '90s TV on there, but when did you make that particular album?
So Oreku dropped December 15th of last year. I started working on it immediately after I dropped my last album. Before that, Water, December 12th, 2020. So literally like the next week, I did the first song, Meditation, and I didn't like it because I felt like the song had no reason yet. And it's wild that the first song I make on an album that doesn't exist yet, I feel like doesn't belong on the album that I want to make. And I put it away for a very long time. Like I wrote out the verse. I like did a test recording of what it would sound like on top of the beat that I had, and I was like, something is not right. I feel like I have to live a little bit more before I understand what it is I'm trying to say on this song. And that's when the next song came out a couple months later, or I finished it a couple months later, Dub Right Now. And it sounded a lot. I do the Outcast thing where I'll put a very kind of like tragic song over a happy melody. And so it's just like, so I've been really feeling low and I don't know just how to show it. Everything that's good to me lately, I tend to blow it. I'm about to get my master's and I still ain't got employment. I'm writing all these songs and they don't bring me no enjoyment. So it's like I'm doing all that on this very fun, kind of like kid show-esque beat. And it's like, why are you so sad on this happy song? And it's like, because I'm sad and I'm trying to use music to get out of it. That's why.
Man, you trying to get out there rut, boy. But yeah, it's real, man. And
so like all of my art adds to the story. Anytime I do a music video, I don't do I'm going to perform my song in some random environment. It's everything has a purpose. So like with Dub Right Now, I did that video by myself. It's very reminiscent of like a Playhouse Disney kind of kid show type thing, but it's me, and me, 3 different versions of myself. Just kind of being like, life doesn't feel the greatest right now, but as long as I think that there's a way forward and I keep helping people through their struggles as well, we're going to be all right. And that's that song.
Man, that's a great answer, man. I like that, man. You got to keep on rocking, man. Got to keep rocking. Always. Are we pretty much getting close to the end? We got like a few other questions that we're going to ask here, of course, but let's see. What can we ask on this? What was your first car?
My first car was a hand-me-down from my sister. It was a Volkswagen Jetta, and it would overheat and just stall for no reason.
What year?
I think it was a 97 or 98.
Oh, the box. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, my run around car is a Jetta, of course. It's a diesel. Shout out to the Jetta gang.
Hey, yeah.
When they running correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So since your car was overheating quite a bit, I know you have like an interesting story when your car stopped on you, right?
All right. So, oh my God. So, it's what was it? I think it had to be baccalaureate. It was something to do with it was baccalaureate. So we had baccalaureate for the graduates for high school, which is kind of like a church service, but for graduates. It's how it's kind of ran. It's weird. But my girlfriend at the time, I was taking her to baccalaureate, and we're getting to we're approaching a red light, and then I hear the noise. That means we not finna go nowhere for a little bit, and the car stalls right there, and we still gotta get there, and it's like there's no way this car is stalling in the middle of the street, and we still got 15 minutes to go. and now we're like, I'm calling my dad. I'm like, yo, the water not working. It's not cooling down. The car won't turn on. It's I don't think we can even get it off to the side if we put it in neutral. And then I was trying everything that I could, and then I just got back in, put my hands up, and did the good old, let me just turn it one more time, and then it started up. And we got there on time, and I was just like, if there was ever a time if there was ever a time to not look cool in front of my girlfriend, it is right now.
Oh, I got a story. I have a few stories, but oh yeah, this is one of my bloopers, of course. It was one time I had my 68 Mustang on, still around, of course, to this day, but my gas meter wasn't working right. I'm like, okay. I didn't realize it wasn't working. I had a bunch of trash in the gas tank. I ended up changing the gas tank out, put a fuel sending unit in. But at the time, it was a chick I was talking to or whatever. I mean, she was good to go and everything. We was going through Popeye's Chicken in Dallas. I'm like, okay. That gas hand started acting kind of weird. I'm like, you know what? Let me go ahead and get this food real quick and get some gas. Man, I ran out of gas at the drive-thru, dude.
Oh no! Oh no!
Yes, man. I'm trying to tell you, man. It was so embarrassing, dude.
What was the food?
I mean, she said it was all right, but she helped me push the car to the gas pump.
Oh, okay. Oh,
with heels on. I'm like, I do apologize.
She a real one for that one. She a real one.
But she let me have it a little bit later on with that car. It started having other issues and stuff. Of course, you had to overheat and stuff or whatever, but that's the nature of the game. But,
true.
Man, that was one of them stories. I ran out of gas at a Popeye's drive-thru on a very hot day.
You know what I'm saying? You leave with that. It's like, where is this going? Nah, that's funny. That's hilarious. I love that.
I mean, I have other crazy car stories. This a car channel pretty much. I mean, even though we do this podcast, we talk about everything else, then we center around with cars and stuff like that. But
for sure.
I mean, that's one of my bloopers, of course. We'll have other bloopers another day. So what is your favorite car since you've been out over here for a while?
Oh man. I think my favorite car would have to be, this is so difficult. I loved my Escape that I just had. Man, the story that comes with what happened to that, but the Ford Escape was good. Definitely either my favorite or my second favorite, and then I guess tied, the one in contention with that would probably be Camry.
Yeah, I was a Toyota salesman back in the late 90s and early 2000s. Now I'm old. But yeah, I sold Toyotas for a little bit back in 99 to 2002, of course. But them killer cows, man, they built to last, man.
Yeah, I had a song back in 2016, 17 called Toyota, and I think you would vibe with it.
Oh yeah, I got to look into that. Is that on SoundCloud?
Yeah, that's on SoundCloud.
Oh yeah, I got some digging to do tonight, man, while I'm riding around.
Absolutely.
Golly, that is crazy. So, I dropped my earpiece. Hold on one second.
Yeah, for sure.
So what would you suggest for anybody that want to, use mental health in their music? How would they go about it?
I think the best thing to do is to understand when your music is not the answer. There's a lot of things that I have that I still listen to of my own that I just don't put out, and I've never put out. And it's because I understand that it comes from a place to where if someone else hears this song and they realize someone is living the same experience as them, they're going to take the message of that song and take it into the real world. And there's never a point with which I want someone to listen to my music relate to me and then use that music to then go on and do harm in the world, be it intentional or not. There's the stories of like people who have done very illegal things based off of books they read, from classic literature type stuff. And it's like I never want to be the source of like I don't want to put more harm out into the world just because I felt like I needed to make a song about something. So if you really want to push the mental health road, you don't always have to make happy songs. You don't. A lot of my songs are not happy. They might have a happy vibe to them, but there's a lot of like, struggle in there. But I always give people both sides. I always give people, a solution that's fair and respectable. And that's the way that you should always go about it. You should always leave your music with more questions and at least one solution.
Kind of give us a little bit more to look forward to, pretty much then, right? Like, I wonder what happened with that.
Yeah.
We just come back and just listen for more and more, pretty much. So you don't need to be looking for answers in the music. Is that what you're trying to say then, right?
Yes. Do music therapy and music diet is so critical. When it's funny, but like when people try to use, favorite songs or music artists as jumping off points to talk about, just get to know someone, it goes a lot deeper than I just like this person's music. There's a reason you like it, and it's because it resonates with you. It either resonates with your experiences or resonates with an experience that you haven't had yet. So for me, when I deal with a lot of kids, I deal with all sorts of kids, all different ranges, neurodivergent and well-adjusted kids as well. If a kid tells me their favorite artist is Juice WRLD, my radars pop up, and I now want to know more about this kid because I can't. Understanding how the teenage mind works and younger, there's a part of me that's like, there's probably a reason you like Juice WRLD that's bad. That Juice WRLD's a bad artist. Juice WRLD is a fantastic artist. Rest in peace, Juice. But if Juice WRLD is your favorite artist and you literally play only Juice WRLD, if not mostly Juice WRLD, there may be something going on that we need to get to the bottom of, because a lot of Juice's music came from his struggles and his pain, and he wasn't giving a lot of the answers. He was just putting a lot of his pain on music. Like I still see the shadows in my room, can't take back the love that I gave you. It's to the point where I love and I hate you, and it's like that. It's like there's a lot of isolationism, but that song was a big hit and everyone liked it. So it's like people are taking the message like, yeah, like when I have a problem with someone or when I have conflicting feelings about somebody, I should just go away and isolate myself, because like the pain of doing this internal back and forth isn't worth figuring it out, and it's always worth figuring it out.
Oh yeah, that'll work right there. So what are your final thoughts at this time?
My final thoughts are, chase happiness. Chase happiness, but chase happiness with respect to other people chasing their happiness as well, and you will avoid a lot of bad things and times and misunderstandings. Everything will feel awkwardly like it's coming together, and that's because it is. You're following your understandings of the world, and the more that you chase those instincts, the more comfortable with life you'll be, the better circle of friends, family, and acquaintances, business relationships, whatever that you'll have, and you'll get on the path to living your best life a lot sooner than if you did the alternative.
Man, I like that. Woo! Man, I'm glad you was on this show. My goodness, I wish you was here in Atlanta. We could have did this. I wish you was actually down here in Atlanta, but man, this will work as well. Actually,
yeah.
Wow. We do appreciate everybody from watching on Hey, Use Your Inside Voice Live with Mr. Old School Rider. We have Derrick Florence II, aka Moonman Flow,
Yes,
of course, with a man with a lot of hats, doing them very well. mental health, all kind of stuff. Go check them out. Shout out your social media that you have going on.
You can find me anywhere at Moonman Flow, and if you're having a problem with that, just search my name or search Derrick Florence II or Moonman Flow. Trust me, you'll find something that you'll like, and you know, you'll find all the other stuff through whatever it is. So yeah, just look the name up and Google will do the rest for you.
Yeah, also you can find me on YouTube and IG at Mr. Old School Writer, all one word. Also, my book club is the Writers Book Club as well. We also do have like a book event in Atlanta in June of 2022. You'll get the date a little bit later, but we have quite a few events. Also, you go catch me in the VA early next month. Gonna be doing my podcast, of course. I'll give y'all the details a little bit later as well, but keep looking out for what I'm doing as well. And also, I do have the Hey You Should Inside Voice live from downtown Atlanta. I do have a couple of guests that's going to be on a Friday. Our show going to start at 6:30, of course. You know how I do it sometimes. I might be a little bit late or some technical difficulties, but that's why I got an engineer for this show. We should be straight by then. But at the house on these streams, we're going to be struggle streaming just a little bit. It'll be like that. You got to keep it authentic.
Absolutely.
But other than that, we do appreciate everybody from coming through. Just stay on for me, Derrick.
I got you.
All right, y'all have a good night. Peace out.